Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion plays City Skylines. So I've just returned from PAX, and City Skylines is out, and that's awesome. Everybody in the world is playing it right now, and that's pretty cool. I did a straw poll, and I was like, you know, I've learned a lot. When I first started playing the series, I probably had about 5 hours in the game, and only had the most bare-bones knowledge of how to do a decent city that could at least get to, like, you know, 10,000, 20,000 people. I did a straw poll, and I was like, now that I have a little bit more knowledge, I've tinkered around for another 20 hours on top of that, basically. Do you want me to do a new city? And everyone, well, not everyone, literally 75% of people, I did a straw poll on Twitter, said yes, Scumtopia is basically fucked. So we're gonna do a brand new one, and why don't, just to mix it up, why don't we do a little bit of a different map? And I don't know, what's up with Rockfield? It's got a decent amount of water. We'll try this out here, and I'll explain to you what I'm doing, just in case you're having, like, the same troubles that I was having with how things work. And I think I'll mute the music. Not mute, sorry. Just lower the music a little bit. It does that thing where it starts out, like, really quiet, and then when you get something going on, it crescendos like crazy. All right, let's pause here. I don't need your stinking tutorial. Just want to take a look at the map quickly. So, our highway kind of off-ramp area is going to be here. We're gonna have water on all sides, but apart from that, it's a pretty decent starting area. So let's do let's do a little bit of planning. Don't tell me to build roads ever. One of the things that I think is a little bit, maybe I'm just missing out on, like, why this is an important thing, but in order to get 6-lane roads, you have to first build a 2-lane road, which I think makes it a little bit counterintuitive, because, you know, you want to build like a high density capable. Oh, you know what? I didn't even, give me a second here. I'm gonna put a timer on this episode, which means automatically it's gonna be a little bit longer. I forgot, you know, I was just playing some Isaac, and Isaac doesn't have a timer, except for, of course, the you know, universal timer of death that bounds us all to this mortal coil. All right, so what I'd like to do now is build, like, literally like a 1-tile wide road, and then bulldoze the crap out of it. And we basically, that costs us like $10. As you can see down here. Then, we can start building 6-lane roads. I don't really love doing one-ways on the way in. I understand that this is probably the best way to do it, but I actually think that maybe... Oh, they've reworked the Twitter thing a little bit up here. I like it. So you can see how many unread tweets you have. Maybe it doesn't pop up as much now. I admit that it's probably something that's easy to do and helps out, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about doing it myself. Although, I guess it's a one-way on the way in and a one-way on the way out anyway. So I'm going to take a 6-lane road here, and this is where you have to be very careful. 6-lane one-way, and I'm going to drag it out. I'm going to drag it out pretty far. However, it's going to cost us an awful lot of money. That's where we have to be careful, because if you're building these 6-lane roads, it's going to be quite expensive. What we're going to do after that is we're going to put a roundabout to be able to handle the traffic here. It's a small roundabout. We unlock the other one a little bit, or Cloverleaf intersections come a little bit later, but, oh, they come at the same time as large roundabouts. That's okay. Now, we've still got about 63,000. This is going to be D-zoned. That way, all of the traffic that's on here is just on here, and then it can split apart at the roundabout to go wherever it needs to go. Instead of putting industrial here, and then we zoom in, and, like, all of the industries are getting deliveries, and it's really stopping the flow of traffic into our city. So then we're going to drag, like, a 1-lane road like this, and I mean, it's not quite straight, but that's okay. I'm just trying to make sure that, speaking fiscally here, we're still okay. And then maybe we'll take like a 4-lane road, and it doesn't necessarily have to be one way, and we'll drag it up like this. Still pretty expensive. And like this. So now we have a loop that people can actually use to get into and around our city. And we may try to keep, like, all of this D-zoned, so that our city will actually build outwards in this way. Now, this is going to be a waste of space. It's going to waste a lot of space. On the other hand, it will also make it so we have a huge ceiling, or like a huge head start when it comes to our actual traffic. You might be saying, why is this one way if they can't drive back up this anyway? Well, we'll probably have, like, non-one-way roads going this way, so it's helpful to have this not one way, so there is a way to go north and south here. We can always upgrade this later. Of course, that's famous last words. But anyway, let's start building. We're going to need a commercial zone, and we're going to need an industrial zone, and we're going to need a residential zone. I'm going to try to put our industrial zone kind of down here, so we'll just build out kind of like this. Getting a little bit financially worried, I'll admit. And we'll just start by building it kind of like on a diagonal here to maximize as much space as possible. So this will be like our first industrial zone. Then this, coming off of this side, will be our first commercial zone. It doesn't have to be that large, like that. And then a very large and just straight line, basically, of residential space. This is going to fill up pretty quickly, but it's a decent enough start for our city, I think. So let's zone this out properly. I'm assuming, by the way, that even though this video is starting slow, if you're the kind of person who enjoys playing City Skylines, you're probably the kind of person who's a little bit okay with a little bit of a slower style of gameplay, and that's cool. Actually, I'm going to rethink this. I might make this all industrial. Maybe not that, but for now, we'll just we'll do commercial like here and here. But I'm going to D-zone just a little bit. I mean, basically, like, I don't want anybody to be stopping near our roundabout, because that's going to cause a lot of traffic problems. Roundabouts are tricky enough as is, coming from a North American where, you know, we really don't have them very much here. I've driven on them a couple times, but every time I'm basically like, man, I hope nobody's here, because I am probably going to be breaking the law accidentally. And then we've zoned some residential stuff. Now we have to deal with our infrastructure. This is a very simple city to start with here. I didn't even give it a name yet necessarily, but that's okay. We need to have water and we need to have power. Now I've been rethinking the way to deal with power. Mostly because no one man should have all of it. But power, I think, what I've been trying to do is use wind power and then switch to these awesome advanced wind turbines later. Coal power is admittedly more efficient at a price per dollar ratio. I'm stealing this, by the way, from a Roomba, not from his videos, which I haven't watched yet, because he puts out 100 a day. No offense to him, he's a great person. Dude, he works too hard for me to keep up with him. I know I'm one to talk, but anyway, he told me in the Skype chat that we had recently, he's like, you know, I just use wind power and then switch to like the sweet ones that you build on water. I did a sandbox city like that. It becomes so useful if you can get like a really awesome area where they produce like 20 megawatts and they also don't take up space in your city. So temporarily, this is going to be a little cumbersome, but what's a coal plant cost? Costs 19,000. These cost 6 each, so we'll just build like 3 for now. Temporarily. And we are going to have to load up our city with power lines, but we can do that in a moment, basically. For now, at least we have power. We're also going to need water, so we'll put... oh, which direction does the water go here? The water goes down this way. So we can start out with like a pump. Oh, but this needs to be powered, so it's probably better to put it over here. The only question is where's the... Maybe there's like no flow over here. A little cumbersome. But we can do it. Yeah, we can do it. So we'll put like all of our intakes over here and all of our outtakes over here. Alright. As a result of that, we will have to draw up some power lines. This one's already going to be powered up, which is good. This one we can just do like directly over the D-zoned areas. It's going to cost us a little bit, but I think it's worth it for the way that we have it set up in the future. What do you mean we can't build a power? What if we do it like this? Yeah, sometimes the game can be a little wonky like that. That's okay, though. Alright, now we should have people starting to move into our city. I want to save a little bit of money because we are going to use more power lines in the future. Like going this way to mic up, not mic up, you know what I mean, though. Our residential area. So just to make sure that we don't have problems and like people being super unhappy just to begin with here, this area is all D-zoned for now. We can do that. And once our city is kind of like fully functioning from a power line situation, we'll, we can bulldoze these and be fine. So there is a little bit of a startup cost associated with the layout of the city that we've got. Oh, right, pipes. There's a little bit of a startup cost associated with the way that I've got the city running here, because until we get to the ability to have extra advanced wind turbines, which you can actually build on water, we're gonna have to sort of inefficiently build many wind turbines in our city, which takes up a lot of space, causes problems for city planning and stuff like that, but we'll eventually, you know, be bulldozing those and putting more stuff over here. And I figure, like, people don't really mind noise pollution if they're in an industrial area. That's the way, at least I expect that it works in real life. Seems like it's going pretty well right now. This is seriously like the 5th city that I've started. Just for now, even though it's a little expensive, we can put up some power lines here. We are running out of money, but as our city gets more and more people in it, and particularly more and more industry, we'll start to come out of the red here and into the black. But it's going to take us a little while to do so. In the meantime, I would really like more industries to be built so that we could stay out of debt. I believe in you. I really don't want to crank up taxes before we have people even, you know, settling in our city. You could run some sweet kind of calculus on this, I'm sure. We have like $563 left in the bank, credits, whatever. And we're not going to reach the break-even point, I think. But we're getting pretty close. You know what? Just to be safe, I'm going to raise tax. Oh, we can't raise taxes yet until we reach our first milestone, which is coming up. And when we reach that milestone, what is it? 500? That's the wrong button. 340. When we reach 340, we will get a small little intake of money, and after that, we'll be able to take out loans so we can stop any financial problems in their tracks. There's some good financial advice for you. Ever got problems? Just loans, man. Solve your problem right away. So we're going to be in the minus pretty soon, but also within the week we're going to have we're going to hit that population milestone, unless we don't have enough houses in order to do so. In which case we find ourselves tackling a small problem here, but we're almost there. There we go. So that gives us taxes, loans, garbage, healthcare, education. I think this is pretty good. We also get an elementary school, a medical clinic, and a landfill site. Garbage. Every game I play, garbage is the principal problem. Garbage and corpses. It's also the name of my industrial band. What do we do about this? First, we got a little money. Let's check power. Power's good. Won't be good forever. Power's good for now. Water's going to be fine for now. We need to build garbage in an area where it can kind of handle it. One of the things I was thinking is that maybe we could try to put our garbage not on the intake into the city, but maybe on the outtake of the city. We could put like a landfill down over here. Because this is not a one-lane road, it's actually pretty easy for it to get around. Mind you, it would probably be better if we put it on like this side of the roundabout. I wonder if we built like a small service road just before the roundabout and only put garbage there. Would people still drive on it? Or would only garbage trucks use it? Oh, you know what? We shouldn't do this anyway because this is a one-way road. So the garbage wouldn't be able to get back. That would probably cause some problems. All right, so, I mean, some people are probably at least like, why are you even talking about this? This is not a big deal. It's a big deal, my friends. It's a big deal. Garbage is like the principal problem in every game of Cities Skylines that I've played. So we put down this landfill. This should be able to handle it for the next little bit. And also I placed it on the right side of the road so that it can very quickly kind of get into this roundabout and get what it needs to get. The next thing that we probably need to do, a medical clinic might... I'm sorry for doing this. I'm trying to get it like 100% centered. Probably more anal than I need to be. Medical clinic is probably important. Elementary school is probably important. But because I'm going to be building out like a little bit more... I'm going to be less worried about space, more worried about traffic. Because traffic is the serious problem here. What I'm going to do is build up another residential area for now. And I really do like to use roundabouts now, even though they're expensive. And we can take a loan. So I think we should probably... I'm going to raise taxes like a little bit on low-density residential and commercial. We can usually take it up to like 11 or 12% before people get too pissed. And we'll take our first loan out. I think we need to hit like 700 before we can take that one. That's fine. Take an extra 20,000 for now. Well, by doing this now, we can do better later. So we'll put a small roundabout here, and just by right-clicking, you can rotate that into the proper position. And we can. The other thing that's awesome about this is we can connect this with other roundabouts to really make it so there's not many traffic lights in our city. And then I think we're probably going to build residential off in this direction, and we can keep... You know what? Actually, it's probably better for us to build residential off on the water here, and then we can put commercial kind of in the interior so we can service more of the residential area on the outside. So let's build like a curved road here, and we'll keep it 4 lanes just so it's a little future-proofed. And that'll go like this, and then bend. We can probably make it a little bit more efficient if we take it out to like here. Not the most like efficient way to do things. Very slightly cumbersome, but you know, you want to do it right the first time if you can. So we'll take a little extra time. Just want to make sure there actually is a lot of space to build residential stuff here. Curved roads can be a little pricey. So we'll do it like that, and that can be our newest residential zone. Just before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's make sure that we've got this kind of watered up here. And that will service all of that. There's a little bit of demand for industrial space, but we still have a lot of industrial unused here. So that'll be new residential stuff. And you know what? We should actually zone probably the interior of the roundabout as well. At least like this section and the section that comes after the road. That way we don't have to build any more power lines. Like the city, my principle with my cities at least is that they should pretty much, I mean, they're not powering themselves literally, but they shouldn't need power lines after a while because everything will be kind of connected in circuit. We'll build districts once we get the capabilities to. I'm just going to speed it up here. We're still not quite at financial equilibrium. In fact, it's going in the opposite direction. But as we get more and more people building their houses here, it should work itself out. We can also zone the interior of the roundabout like this, in the hopes that, you know, people will build in there. I don't know if you'd want to have your house on the interior of a roundabout, but that's not for me to decide, is it? That's for you to decide when you build it, or for the game to decide when it forces you there. We're coming out of financial troubles again. I'm glad there's still demand for commercial here. I actually quite like this map. This is the first time I've played it on it, I think. But the fact that you start with a pretty decent plot of land that's fairly easy to connect continuously is good. We have to think about the future, though. How are we going to set this up in the future? I think that below, like south of this road, will be our industrial block. I want to avoid putting many intersections on it, because that really is the genesis of the traffic that you face in the game. Good, they're building out in kind of a logical pattern here. I'm impressed. Let's put down a medical clinic. How much will it serve here? I don't really want to put it on the roundabout. That seems like kind of a traffic nightmare. I almost feel like maybe it's not the best idea to have our hospital right next to our landfill, but if we could put it here, again, that gives it like easy access to the rest of the city. As you can see, it doesn't quite reach that area up at the top though, so we might be better off putting it like here, and if we zoom out, we can see nothing's really going to hit this whole residential area, and that's the principal problem with this new philosophy I have for city layouts, is that it's not as population dense to start with, so you need to build multiples of things. You're kind of really building out instead of building up for the first little bit, but, yeah, the best we can basically do is covering everything south of this roundabout, and the best way we can do that traffic-wise is probably by building it here, or, I mean, logically speaking, it shouldn't cover any more being up there. Whatever, we'll build one up here, and then we can probably build one, like, next to the other roundabout to help out. People are still pretty stoked. Up here, you can't get access to the clinic, but hey, it's a start, right? And again, let's take a quick look to make sure we don't need to build more power. Not quite yet, and our water's also fine. The main thing is just making sure that, you know, we don't want to build more windmills than is necessary. You definitely don't want to build less, but you don't want to build more either, because I don't want to say we're going to be replacing them, but we're not going to be using these windmills forever. And we're probably going to be bulldozing them eventually anyway. So if we can get away with not having to use them, then that's very beautiful for us. Financially looking good. I think we can afford to build an elementary school. And again, like, I kind of love the idea of building it on the roundabout, but it doesn't really service as many people here. I'm assuming an elementary school is going to have a little bit less traffic. I'll build it up here, actually. We can find a good place by the water. We can call it, like, you know, Sunny Creek or something like that. I wanted to build it up here so that it can service as much of the town as is possible, at least. And again, with a town of 621 people right now, I wouldn't expect a whole lot of traffic there. We already are having problems with maybe not enough population, or the traffic is not good enough to actually get workers where they need to go on time. So we could have some kind of industrial crash happening relatively soon, and that's a little worrying. But usually, at least in the early game here, it doesn't become too much of an issue. You can kind of bounce back from it pretty easily. Now we have districts policies, a second loan, a fire department, a police department. New policies. Number one priority is probably, well, first off, our number one priority is getting rich. So let's take this extra loan here. And now we've got a ton of money. And we want to build a fire station and a police station. Fire, along with garbage, is one of those principal problems. So one thing I actually like to do is build like a fire station here, and then a fire station a little closer to our industrial area. This is not zoned yet, so I think we can get away with it. And this will really help our industrial area out. And then a fire station like up here. And I know that's extremely cost prohibitive, but it also will keep our buildings from burning to death, and industrial fires in particular are just a killer when it comes to that stuff. Now, for the police station, again, I kind of want to put them close to the roundabout here, but not necessarily directly on the roundabout. Like here, but I want them to be able to cover the industrial area. This actually seems like a pretty happy medium. It might cause a few traffic problems, but you know, you got to compromise that for efficiency in some cases. There's going to be a little bit of crime in the north end of the city. Once we get more income on a regular basis, we can worry about that. Oh, yeah, that should have power, right? What I am worried about is, or what I should say is that I'm not too worried about it because as our city gets bigger, it's going to have. How can you need power? It's gonna, these like residential areas are gonna turn into high density residential. We're not gonna be building out forever is basically what I'm getting at. Are we running out of power? That's the problem. Okay, so we do need to build some more windmills, wind turbines, I should say. We want to build them wherever they can get 6 megawatts. So we'll build 2 more of those. That probably won't last us until we get to that milestone that's necessary, but so be it. We are financially in a little bit of a spot right now, but it's going to come back up as we build that more and more out, residentially speaking. Like, there's still lots of unused plots here. Let's set some districts, shall we? That's always half of the fun here. So I'm going to put it on speed 1 while I do so. This right here, very small district to start out with, is going to be... Hickory Heights is a pretty good name for it, I got to admit, but I'm going to name this, Railroad District. Now, actually, you know, I want to give it like a nice, like, industrial-sounding name. Railway District. This is the kind of place where it starts out, they're making railway ties, your grandpa's going there getting the black lung. I'm not trying to make light of that, by the way. Those people built this nation. However, you know, later on, as those buildings become derelict, you know, you start building lofts and shit and that, and you go, oh, I live in the railway district, and people go, whoa, dude, that's so bohemian of you. So there's our railway district. We are going to classify this. Okay, I'm going to push out the railway district to the stoplight at least. I want to be a little bit more anal about this stuff than I have been in the past. Washington Park is definitely not the name that I see myself giving to this area. Want to make it look a little bit more, not really symmetrical, but you know what I mean. So instead of this being Washington Park, this can be something commercially sounding, but not too commercially sounding. You know, it's not going to be like a boutique type thing. This isn't going to be our downtown. For now, this is going to be our... I'm going to call this Ryokan Square, but it's not really a square. Ryokan Rectangle, that's perfect. If you're not familiar with what Ryokan is, it's basically like a chain of, what you call them, malls, but basically like shopping plazas in Canada where you'd find like a plaza, I know, but you'd find like a Home Depot and maybe a movie theater, a Future Shop, Best Buy, stuff like that, and a lot of like, you know, Winners and other, you know, JCPenney, etc., etc. So Ryokan Rectangle, that speaks to me. Then, residentially speaking, we're going to keep this all in the same district for now. North of the roundabout. And we're probably going to build over here too. Spruce Hills is a great name for it. But because it's north of the roundabout, I kind of want to call it like Norround Hook. I know this sounds like a kind of a character from like Sinbad's Adventures or something like that. But this is, you know, where do you live? Oh, I live in Norround Hook. Why is it called that? It's north of the roundabout, and it kind of hooks at the end. It's very logical. Say what you will about our mayor, but he follows the principles of logic. A building has leveled up. If you provide good service, this is a good tip. They didn't have this before, I think. Oh, and there it goes. I probably should have paused. So right now, oh, this is great. Our industrial area is doing just fine when it comes to workers. I can't tell if one of our buildings got demolished there, or if you just actually can't build on that square because it's too close to the water or something. That's a little inefficient, but for now it's okay. We have a pretty decent demand for residential. We can augment that demand if we wanted to by raising taxes, but we may not want to do that necessarily. What I do want to do principally is just make sure that I'm building out in a fashion that makes sense and also keeps traffic to an absolute minimum, which is why I'm using these roundabouts. Like, if we look at our info panel, this is a risk, but it should say that everything's going pretty well. Admittedly, this roundabout... Oh my, what's my mouse doing here? I think it got off this monitor. Admittedly, this intersection's a little wonky on the roundabout, and this intersection's a little wonky as well. What do we get now? High school and parks. But this one's a little wonky too, but we can upgrade those. Probably best to do it sooner rather than later, but do we have large roundabout now? No, we need 1900. Now that we've got a high school, we should build a high school, and we can look at our education panel a little bit more closely. Elementary school, we should probably build another one. But if we can build a high school like here, this will serve pretty much our whole residential area. It's going to kick some people out of our town. That's okay. I'm not going to build another elementary school just yet. We'll deal with that when it comes, but right now, you know, we got to worry about just making sure that our city stays powered up as well. Probably parks are something we should build too. But first, I think we've got to build another residential area because demand is kind of outstripping supply right now. So we're going to build another... I need to say something. This is going to be an inefficient use of space to start with. It's going to sprawl, it's going to take a long time for people to get to work, but once they get to work, it's going to be fine. And once we get to the point where we unlock high-density residential, I wouldn't say we're going to redesign the city, but we're going to rezone it in such a way that it should not sprawl out so much. It should spread up instead of spreading out. But for now, we're going to be spending a lot and taking up a lot of space. But then the space is going to be filled in, you know? It's like drawing an outline and then coloring in between the lines. So, Don't sweat that too much for now. We want to make sure we save at least 6,000 for another wind turbine. But we do want to get a new residential area going here. The only question that I have is, like, how should we hook this up so that we only need one extra roundabout? And I think the way that we'll do that is we'll take our curved road tool here and we'll keep it up with 4-lane roads, and we'll draw this out and then down like that. After doing this, we can then build a small roundabout. Like, it's gonna be ugly. Let no one say that this is not going to be ugly. And expensive as well. However, in doing so, we only need to build one roundabout, and we can get a pretty decent amount of space going here. And for now, I'll leave this road here. I'm going to bulldoze this road at the top. We'll get a small refund, and it just looks nicer. But eventually, we're going to want to have this branch off. And we will obviously rezone this all to be... Oh, what am I doing here? That's the paintbrush. I wish I could just undo everything I just did. I thought we had the marquee tool out. We'll do that, and we'll paint it up. And I'm not too concerned about... You know what? If you want to build on this space, just keep in mind your house might one day be bulldozed to make room for a shopping mall. My biggest nightmare is that I'm doing this city like new, but I'm going to end up actually making it worse than my city was before. But I don't think we have too much of a risk of that, honestly. And this was actually like a pretty smart build, financially speaking. Speed up the time a little bit. It's a pretty smart build financially speaking because we're pretty much at exactly the amount of money that we would need in order to put a windmill down or wind turbine. And we probably should do that as we get financially into a weird spot here, waiting for more people to come in so they can pay more tax. Because we might fall under 6,000. It's kind of hard to tell. Do I need to redistrict this? I do. Well, not redistrict it, but just do that. And as we... I mean, that's how I start playing the game. I go through kind of like financial ups and downs. But you have momentum basically going in one direction here. And then switching. Like we have momentum going up right now. I want to avoid getting power usage up. Like the policy of power usage. That's not what I meant there. I want to avoid doing the policy of power usage until I have... a little bit better income consistently. Remember, I have to look at the newly unlocked service. Oh, we actually have some unique buildings that we can build. They've unlocked some at the start here. But I'm not going to build them right away because we don't have the cash for it. How's our power doing? It's in the yellow. We should build another one right away. 5 megawatts. Is there any space with 6 that I haven't... Oh, I'm out of money! I should have paused it earlier. Okay, that's all right. I trust you to pull out of this. Where's our next milestone anyway? It's probably 1,500. 1,900. Oh, okay. That's not a good sound. And I think that is the sound of us running out of power. So just to get us to 1900, because our loans are a long way off, I guess we will turn on the power usage thing. And it's going to cost us more money, but it should save us more power immediately, which will at least allow these people to have power. They're going to be pretty pissed off about the whole, you know, not being able to use it thing. I got to do something here for a second. Options, audio. Take that master volume down just a little bit more. In fact, you know, I think I might take it down even one more in just a second, because this is really the flourish where it brings it home. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit concerned about the state of our city right now, just because of the financial situation that we've got going on, and the fact that our power is in a little bit of a weird spot, but I'm relatively okay with it for now. My thinking is there's a little bit of commercial demand and a little bit of industrial demand. Low happiness. I will place a park, but we're gonna have to wait. I would like to have like a loan be paid off, but our next milestone will pay us as well. The problem is we don't really have enough to, like enough money to do anything, like to build anything. So I think all I can really get away with for now, instead of building like a new zone, is just zoning this. What is that, by the way? Did I? Oh, that's my fire station. Oh, that's perfect. I should have put it on the other side, but whatever. And we'll just zone a little bit of extra space so that people can build. And it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. And I think, you know, honestly, I might crank up taxes just a little bit. And people aren't going to like it. But when your population gets high, a little bit of extra tax goes a long way. And they'll let me know if they're pissed off by it, by the way. The risk is, of course, having a very small city completely implode. But watch our income come up here for a variety of reasons, one of which is our newly increased taxes. But we're gonna run into a little bit of financial trouble, there's no question about that. We got a little bit of crime in this area as well. Crime's something I haven't really had to deal with. I think that one of the few things my previous cities have done right is actually that they've had high density populations, so crime has never really been an issue. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. That's our timer right there. But we're gonna see how if we come out of our financial problems here. For now, though, I'm pretty pleased with the way the city's designed. Power's alright, but I could really use that next boost. But in a month, we're going to get to 1900 anyway, if all things go well. Oh, come on. You're going to tell me there's crime at our garbage dump? What, if you're going to steal my garbage and bring it to your own house, that's fine by me. But in any case, I hope you're enjoying the new city. I don't know what we're going to call it. Maybe Scumtopia 2.0. Thanks for all the incredible support in the series so far. I hope you've been enjoying it, and I hope you've been enjoying the game. You know, it seems like most people are. As always, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.